Alrighty, welcome back everyone to My Living Media podcast. Today we have Steve. He's here to talk about the Treasure Coast Jewish Food Festival and tell us a little bit about this great event that's going to be going on in our community. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you. I'm with Temple Beit Hayam, and we started this food fest about 4 years ago.
Okay.
It was an idea that the president at that time, of our congregation at that time, came up with, and he had seen other food festivals, especially up in the Tampa area,
Okay.
that they did pretty good with. So he said, well, why don't we try it? And I happened to be a new member of the synagogue at that time, and I wanted to get involved in things. And I said, well, I'll help you with that.
I love that.
So, but I say I've been a member with the synagogue for 4.5 years.
Wow.
I'm on the board,
Awesome.
and I guess I'm the kitchen guru now.
I love
For
that.
whatever reason. But I got involved with the food festival, and we decided the great weekend to hold it is February, the President's Day weekend.
Okay.
All right, people are off.
Yes, that's smart.
We do it on Sunday. It's a small event. I think the first year we did it, we started with about maybe 9 or 10 items on the menu.
Okay. What about today? What type of how many items?
We have 16 today.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
All right, we've upped it.
That's awesome.
And we've got a nice menu of traditional Jewish food. Of course, the biggest one, and everybody probably knows, corned beef sandwiches, pastrami sandwiches. If you go
Yes.
to Katz Deli in New York, or you go to Ben's Deli down in Boca, they're known for their corned beef and
Yeah.
pastrami sandwiches. So that's one of our biggest items.
That sounds so good.
It's a half-pound sandwich that on rye, and people love them.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys will know where to find those. You have to go visit them on the 23rd so you can have a
You're right.
delicious sandwich.
February 23rd, and it's 12 to 3 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, we're not like the big Greek festivals are where you have 2 or 3 day event. We're small,
Yeah,
but we're growing.
definitely. And it's such a great thing to do for the community and, to showcase items. Like, I was telling you, I'm only really familiar with matzo ball soup. I've had obviously the, pastrami and
Pastrami,
corned beef sandwiches,
Yeah.
but, it is a great way to introduce that to people who've never maybe tried items like that.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us what makes this food fest unique compared to other cultural festivals in the area?
I think one of the things that makes it, first of all, I think we are the only Jewish food festival on the Treasure Coast, as
Yeah.
far as I know. It's we feature foods from the Ashkenazic Jewish background, which
Okay.
is Central and Eastern Europe.
Okay.
All right, and we also have the Sephardic foods.
Okay.
It's like hummus and pita, falafel,
Oh, I love
that
hummus.
are from the Iberian Peninsula and the Mediterranean areas.
Okay.
So
Yum.
we feature a lot of that, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah. And you were saying too, I don't know if you may have already said this in the beginning, but everything is homemade pretty much, right?
About 70% of what we have is
Wow,
homemade.
that's so special. that
You
you
know,
guys do that.
We have, and if you go through our menu, it's we have the corned beef and pastrami sandwiches. Those are not homemade. We have a great supplier for our corned beef and pastramis. During the event, although a lot of these things are the items are on for pre-order,
Okay.
and we
Oh, I saw that.
recommend pre-ordering
Okay.
to ensure that you get what you want.
Yes.
Every year, it seems like corned beef sandwiches and pastrami, especially, we tend to run out. If you pre-order, you're getting what you've asked for.
Oh yeah. So when do they have to? Is there a certain date they have to pre-order by?
They can order now through the 17th of February.
Oh wow, that's
That
great.
way, I get a count of how many people want what items, and it gives me a gauge of how much I have to order.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially on corned beef and pastrami. Last year, although I doubled what we had from the year before because we ran out.
Yeah.
Last year we ran out of pastrami and corned beef by about 1:30,
Oh my
and we go
gosh.
between 12 and 3.
Yeah.
So it's hard when people are coming in at 2:00 trying to get a pastrami sandwich. So I've doubled again what we had last year.
Oh, good. But they should still pre-order.
They should still pre-order to guarantee.
Okay, good to know.
We have some of the other, like the Ashkenazic foods. Chopped liver is originally Polish. It's chicken livers, sautéed with onions and hard-boiled eggs, all mixed together and seasoned. But we do kugels.
Okay.
All right, kugels is for those who don't know, is a noodle casserole, if you will, that's mixed with cheese, usually cottage cheese, sour cream. That's what we call a basic Luxemkugel.
What's it called? A kugel or
Kugel? Kugel.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
All right. But we also make a sweet one, and that's what we are selling is a sweet kugel. That's it's a lot sweeter. It's made with raisins. So you get the flavor of the raisins through it as well, and that's served with sour cream you can put whatever you want on the kugels. We do blintzes. Blintzes is like a crepe. Okay. All right, that can be cheese filled, it can be fruit filled. So we will be selling blintzes.
Sounds delicious.
So we do a lot of baked goods that are all except for one item, they're homemade. We have members of the congregation that bake challahs, the traditional Jewish bread. Okay. All right. This year we have two varieties. We have just a traditional, which is a plain challah, or we have a raisin challah. And
I love raisins, so that sounds delicious.
So I know my wife is one of the bakers for those. She's
I
probably going to
that.
bake about 60 challahs.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
We have other members that are going to bake probably about another 60. So we'll have about 120 to 150 challahs.
Wow, that's
sale.
a lot of prep, especially since you guys are, making these items homemade. Because you said you make the liver, right?
I make the chopped liver.
Wow.
And it's a couple-hour event
Oh my
to put it together.
Yeah.
To bake that. I have help.
Yeah,
I don't do
good.
it by myself.
I know. I was going to say, I can't imagine, because I will say I'm not the best cook. I'm not the best baker. So I can't imagine. I mean, that is awesome that you guys do that.
Well, one of the reasons I decided, I love being in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I grew up in the grocery and restaurant business.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I think 10 years old, I was in the kitchen at my father's store that had the grocery store, but there was also a coffee house.
Oh, I love that. That's
a coffee
so
shop
sweet.
in it. So I would go in and watch my mother cook or the people who were there cook, and I would learn.
Wow.
And I just love being in the kitchen. So that's how I kind of got the guru of the kitchen at Beit Hayam.
I love that.
So besides the food festival, Hanukkah dinner.
Okay.
Which we just had
Nice.
for the congregation.
Okay.
It's involved with a Friday night service. And, so I provide the food for that.
That's so great.
And I do a lot of the cooking in the kitchen at the synagogue. Passover, the Passover Seder. The synagogue has a Seder that anybody's invited to come. Last year I cooked dinner for 125 people.
Oh my goodness. I can barely do two people.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But the food festival is my favorite.
Yeah.
Because of the various foods that we have.
Yeah.
And,
that's amazing.
yeah.
So do you guys just do food, or what is the experience like for people? Do you have any live entertainment or?
We don't, we're still very small.
Yes. Okay.
We don't have live activities at this point. I know last year and the year before we had like an art show. Some of our members would bring some of their art in that they have made to sell.
Nice. Yeah.
Unfortunately, this year we're not going to be able to do that.
Okay.
So it's basically a food experience.
Okay. That's nice though.
All right. We will have some tables set up if people want to get their food and that they've pre-ordered and sit down at a table and enjoy it, or they can take it home with them.
Yeah, that's nice.
And there'll be Jewish music playing in the background. But that's pretty much what we're doing now. We in the past we've talked about getting like a balloon guy or face painting here
Yeah.
for the kids, but what we have right now is people order the food, they come in, they get it, and they leave.
Yeah, and I was gonna say it's kind of nice because I feel like if I go to a festival, then there's so many different things happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I? And there will be great food there to
Right.
try it. I'm like, what do I focus? There's so many different things, so it's nice that people can literally just go for the food experience or take it, home with them.
Yeah, and that's what we're about right now is it's the food.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a saying that if the Jewish people, if there's food, they're coming. Right?
I love that.
And it's like that with everybody, though.
Yeah.
If
Oh my
you're
gosh.
providing food,
I'll be there.
people will be there.
Yes. So, how do you say events like this strengthen connections within the Jewish community and beyond?
It brings people together. Again, the food thing. Food brings people together. It gives people a chance to maybe taste things they've never tasted before.
Yeah, that's how I would look at it almost. It brings everyone together.
And I mean, if you go to Italian festivals or Greek festivals, I mean, you've got a lot of food that is significant to their culture. All right? That's what we're providing. It's a cultural experience from a food standpoint.
I love that. And I do think that's a good point because I believe that's a major reasoning for why it's bringing the community together because you may be showcasing these food items to people who have never even heard of it or tried it. Like me, like I would go there and learn so much probably about the food,
Right.
from your community.
And we have, my wife and I were talking, we have good friends of ours, and since she's making some of the challahs, we were talking to our friends about it because she wanted to take one to them. Mm-hmm. And she had made one that was a little small one that she just wanted, So she talked to them to see if they would like that. Well, they had never heard of challah.
Yeah.
So yesterday we gave them a challah and they enjoyed it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So for the event, is it typically people that are a part of Temple Beit Hayim that help, or can people help volunteer? Do you guys have like a volunteer list or sponsors?
Mostly people within the congregation are on the committee.
Okay.
That to do all the baking, to do the setup, to do the selling, to do the running, to get the pre-orders together. It's primarily a congregational thing, putting it together and running it. However, it is not just for the congregation; it's for the community. Yes. All right, the community at large. We do have sponsors. This year, right now, we have 3.
Okay.
All right, and who have either donated monetarily or with providing food.
Okay.
That takes away from what we have to pay, so it gives us a larger profit margin that goes back into the temple
Oh, great. I was going to ask
to
that.
support programs that we run at the temple. And not every program is strictly for the congregants. We open up, we have, services every Friday night for the Sabbath. Okay. Anybody can come. You don't have to be Jewish to come to a service and see what it is. There are other programs that we run during the year where there and events that the community at large is more than welcome to come to. Yeah, we're very open.
That's great. So I know, you guys, this is a newer event, but are there any, surprises? Is there anything new on the menu? Has the menu grown, over the past few years? What can people, expect to be different this year?
The menu this year is pretty much the same menu we had last year with a couple of exceptions. I mean, we've added, like I say, last year we had strictly a traditional challah. This year we've added the challah with raisins. So we've got 2 choices. Our Hamantaschen, which is a pastry, fruit filled, or it's like in the shape of a 3-corner hat.
Okay.
If you know the story of Esther, with King Ahasuerus and Haman, who was the evil man,
Okay.
the evil minister. That's where that came from.
Okay, cool.
And the Hamantaschen it be filled with fruit, They can be filled with chocolate.
Well,
They
yeah.
can be, you know,
I'm chocolate and
you're
fruit.
right.
That sounds amazing.
They're all homemade.
Oh, love that.
The rugelach. Now, a lot of people have heard of what rugelach is. It's like a rolled dough with fruit rolled into it, cinnamon and sugar.
Yeah.
You know,
My gosh, my mouth is
yeah.
watering.
But we sell. Last year, all we had was the cinnamon. This year, we're going to have an assortment with the cinnamon. We'll have some raspberry
Wow.
and chocolate rugelach.
That sounds delicious.
So, you know, we've added a couple things. And our knishes, you know, if people have heard of Carnegie Deli, well, what we get is a Carnegie Deli knish. And we have a provider down in Boca that gets that for us. And we're set there. It's a dough filled with potato, or we're doing a potato knish or a potato with spinach.
Wow. I've never had that. Sounds actually really good.
They are
I've never
wonderful.
had one of those before.
They're wonderful. It's a dough that's either baked or fried,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
filled with right.
Yeah, that sounds like my type of dish. That
Right.
sounds amazing. Wow.
So
What's your favorite? I mean, what's your personal favorite that's going to be on the lineup?
I'm biased.
Yeah.
My favorite is the chopped liver,
Yeah.
and
Hey.
that's because I make it.
Yes. It sounds delicious.
But as I was saying earlier, I made over 50 pounds of it last year, of which the majority of it sold. Now, we sell an 8-ounce container of chopped liver. And we had some left, but not much. It's a big seller. It is one of the favorites.
Yeah. I've never had chopped liver. I mean, it sounds great. And
Yeah.
I know my mom has. I've seen her eat it before, but I've just never.
Yeah, well, it's like a pate, a chicken liver pate. So you can eat it as a sandwich. You can eat it with crackers. You know, and it's really good. Of course, our big draw is the corned beef sandwiches and pastrami sandwiches. You know, a half-pound sandwich comes with a pickle and a bag of chips. But and we serve mustard. You get packets of mustard, and you know it's a great sandwiches. But you know those are some of the things. Some of the other fan favorites that we have are the kugels.
Yeah. Those sound really good.
It's a nice side with a meal, or you could eat it by itself. And so you've got the kugels, you've got the knishes. We've got falafel, and it's a container with you get 6 nice round falafel in there. We sell hummus and pita.
I love hummus and pita. It's such like a low key, I feel like snack, but it's my favorite.
It
Oh
is.
my gosh.
People love it, and
So good.
that's a big seller. We for the past 2 years we've run out.
Yeah. I bet it's so good too because
Yeah.
homemade and what about dessert? Like what would be your favorite or I guess like pastry item?
My
Your
favorite pastry item are the Hamantaschen.
Yeah.
You know, and of course the rugelach is all very good. We're selling black and white cookies.
Oh my gosh. Those are my favorite.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
So we have black and white, and that's associated more with a Jewish type of dessert. And we also will have, although you can't pre-order it, the day of the event, we sell quarter-pound kosher hot dogs.
Okay. Oh, everyone loves a good hot dog.
Yeah. Oh, and these are great.
Yeah, I
They're
bet.
wonderful.
So, if someone has never tried Jewish food before, what would you recommend they start with if they, come and visit this festival?
I would say if you've never tried Jewish food and you're not that daring, the kugels would be a great way to start.
Okay.
The baked goods,
Yeah.
always good.
They sound delicious.
Yeah, and the blintzes, and like I say, the blintzes is like a crepe. It's cheese filled, and you can serve it with sour cream or a jelly, which we provide. So that would be a good way to go. And of course the challahs, the breads they're wonderful,
Yeah.
and the knishes. Those would be fairly safe to try that I think most people will like.
Yeah.
And now, if you're daring and you want a little, go for the chopped liver.
Yeah.
Of course, the chicken soup is another big one.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what chicken soup is, and matzo balls.
I love soups.
So-
That's all up my alley.
Yeah.
So that is pretty much all the questions I have for you, unless there's anything else you feel people should know. I mean, you think there's anything we missed?
Just the biggest thing, if you're going, if you want to take advantage of what we have, like I say, pre-selling is the way to go to ensure you get. And you can go to tbhfl.org/foodfest. That'll take you right to the menu. You can see what the items are, select the ones you want, and pay for it right online.
Love it. And so if they're not going to pre-order and they want to come to the event, what's the date and time again?
All right, it is February 23rd, 12 o'clock noon to 3 o'clock at Temple Beit Hayam. That's 951 Southeast Monterey Commons Boulevard in Stewart.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Steve, for joining us and talking about this exciting food festival that you guys have coming up. And I am going to definitely go and check it out. So
Do it.
everyone else should do it too. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.